Everyone, welcome to an impromptu version of the Navarro-Miller Report. I'm Dave Navarro, and sir, your name is?
I'm Jeremy Miller.
And we're just here because Jeremy's actually really excited right now, simply for the fact of the matter that, as many of you can see in our little ticker right there, ding dong, USC coach Helton is gone. And Jeremy, you're a USC fan. You are more than, you plus every other USC fan is doing backflips right now of the fact of the matter that Coach Helton has been forcibly retired from USC.
And in general, I wouldn't be celebrating somebody's demise so much, but you can't feel too bad for a guy who's got a $10 million buyout. So he'll be fine. But this has been a long time coming. I very much respect Mike Bohn, the athletic director, and also USC's president, for giving Helton the shot. I didn't agree with it, but 2 years ago they decided they were going to give him everything he asked for. Upgrade his coaches, upgrade the staff, upgrade his facilities. They literally, across the board, gave him everything he'd been asking for years. Mm-hmm. And they said, we want results. And it turned out exactly as most of us thought it would, unfortunately. I was at the Stanford game, the debacle, and again, it wasn't the loss that surprised me. And that's a sad statement for a USC fan anyway. But it was the way we came in unprepared. I mean, from top to bottom, the coaching staff and the game plan they put together, our players, everybody looked unprepared. Everybody looked unmotivated, and that's a coaching issue, and it always has been. USC, under Coach Helton, has unfortunately made a habit of coming out flat and unprepared for big games. And they squeak by and get by with it in smaller games. I mean, look at San Jose State last week.
Yeah.
Now, the final score was awesome. Final score was great. It took them till the fourth quarter to get it bigger than a one-score lead against San Jose State. They played lethargically. The play calling was uninspired. And more than not delivering on wins, it was obvious that Helton is not developing these players. I read an article today, a great article in USA Today. I wish I could remember the writer's name. I will find it. Maybe we'll link it. And he basically talked about how USC is actually in active NFL players trailing like Virginia Tech, UCLA, and a bunch of now good schools, but not schools that recruit the talent USC has.
Yeah.
And if those people are not making it successfully to the NFL, that coaching staff is not developing their players properly, and that starts with Helton.
Hell, I'm a UCLA fan. Okay, obviously, I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I can't stand USC. But at the same time, I felt so bad for you guys. I mean, and I shouldn't. I mean, if I were to choose between the lesser of the two evils, between Stanford and USC, obviously I'm going to go with the hometown team, which is USC. I'm not a fan of Stanford's, but that butt whooping that you guys received on Saturday was pathetic to USC standards.
You can't call it anything else but pathetic. And truthfully, this event coming today and us finding out that Helton is finally gone, and again, that sounds so cruel about a man losing his job, but again, remember, they're paying him $10 million to leave. So I don't feel too sorry for him.
He's getting a great severance package, apparently.
It's an amazing severance package. But truthfully, the fans at the Coliseum were booing him when he was being interviewed at halftime. Mm-hmm. It was that obvious that they were still the same old problems that he's been saying he was going to fix for 7 years now, and they haven't gotten fixed. So at some point, you have to move on. I'm glad Mike Bohn, the athletic director, recognized it from the things he said this morning in his interview. It seems he saw what we saw, that there was just no movement forwards.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at a quarterback like Kedon Slovis, who has all the ability in the world, and people after his freshman year were talking about, Heisman possibilities, he hasn't progressed almost at all. I mean, watching the game, he stares at his main receiver 90% of the time. He doesn't know how to look anybody off. He doesn't know how to survey the field. He makes up his mind where he's going, and that's the only thing he can look at. That's a coaching issue. They haven't developed him to see the field properly. The game is not slowed down for him yet.
These kids, at the end of the day, they are still kids. Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure out, they're trying to develop themselves to prepare themselves for a higher level of competition. Absolutely. And they're not going to be able to do that if they have a coach that doesn't know where up is down or where down is up at this point.
I'll say this. I want to say that Coach Helton, by all accounts, is an amazing man. He's an amazing role model for these guys. Mm-hmm. Upstanding guy, family first, great faith, teaches character. But somehow that's not translating on the football field.
Yeah.
There are many legendary coaches who have been able to teach those standards and develop their players on the football field as well. Mm-hmm. Tony Dungy comes to mind. Mark Richt in Georgia comes to mind. There's so many great coaches that come to mind.
It's just, at the end of the day, Helton, bottom line is Helton had to leave. Even last year, USC fans were frustrated. They were angry, but somehow he was able to pull off a win. And you were telling me, you're like, great, he pulled off a win. We're stuck with him for another freaking... you were just angry that you won. That's how bad it was.
I was bitter that we went 5-0. Most of them were lucky. Most of them were late comebacks. It was ugly wins, but we were 5-0. And then we went and played, I think, Oregon and got just hammered in the Pac-12 championship game. We got exposed for what we were. But again, he went 5-0, so that was going to be enough to keep him around. And I was rather disheartened. I said to you last night, I was hoping that we would lose at least 2 or 3 more games so that he would get fired. That way I wouldn't have to root for UCLA to beat us at the end of the year.
No kidding.
So thankfully that scenario's out the window. I don't have to ever do that. And, we'll see where it goes from here. The bright side is we get to move forward as USC fans and as the football team. Dante Williams, I believe, is the new interim coach.
I was going to ask if USC already has a plan to replace Helton already, or what's going on with that.
Well, he's going to be the interim. He's a great coach. He's a cornerbacks coach, but he also is one of the top recruiters in the country.
So he's more of a defensive coach then?
Yes, he is more of a defensive coach. Players seem to respond really well to him, and he was actually promoted to assistant head coach last year. So it was kind of the logical step he would be the one to step into Helton's shoes. And I don't know, they haven't said whether they're giving him a hard look as the continuing candidate, but what they have said is that being the first school to be looking for a coach kind of gives us the jump on everybody else.
True.
And they're going to dive right in immediately. So we'll see where this goes. I have faith in Mike Bone. He's lived up to his word as the athletic director. He said he would give Helton the chance. They invested the resources to provide him with everything he needed. Unfortunately, Helton could not get that to translate on the field. And now Bone stuck to his word and said, we have not seen the results we needed, and it's time to move on. So I have faith in this athletic director. I'm very hopeful to see where we go from here. And, it's a bright day for USC fans.
Yeah, we'll see what happens after we go ahead and get our hands on you. After Notre Dame and UCLA gets our hands on you. We got a couple of people
barely beat who? Toledo? You'd never even heard of that team.
I really didn't, but we'll get to that in a second. We got a couple of people that are commenting right now on the chat feed. We got Derek McDonald. He actually commented on the best coaches when you were talking about best coaches. He said Lou Holtz may be the best. He also mentioned he just mentioned, if Jacksonville doesn't work out, would you want Urban Meyer?
That was an idea that was floated around a couple of years back, actually. Urban was rumored to be very interested in the job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to say, Urban comes with a lot of baggage. There's been a lot of scandal and a lot of things at his last two jobs. I'm not sure, really, to tell you the truth.
I mean, at the end of the day,
there's been nothing like that at Florida so far, but or at Jacksonville, but it's hard for a USC who's dealt with sanctions and dealt with that kind of stuff to take a coach who maybe has that reputation. Whether it's justified reputation or not, I don't know if we can hitch our wagon that way. He's a great coach. He seems to develop players wonderfully for the NFL. I would love to see it. Some of the names being passed around right now are Franklin, the Penn State head coach, Mario Cristobal up at Oregon. There's a few really, really good names that are being floated around to be discussed. I mean, they haven't approached anybody. This is all just, being floated at the moment by sources. But any of those are stand-up coaches who've shown that they can develop talent, and that's what I want to see. So would I want to see Urban? It's a 50-50 for me. He's an amazing college coach. He obviously developed talent, but I'm not sure if USC can take the risk of getting involved in anything that even looks improprietous.
That's true. And then we got another person on Facebook asking, this person, JC Strickland, is asking, if you could pick the ideal new coach, Jeremy, who would you make the call to? Oh, that's a tough one for you. I know that's a tough one for you.
That is really a tough one. I'm not sure where I gotta admit, I'm not sure where he's at the moment. He may be still at Texas A&M. Kevin Sumlin was interested a couple of years back and is an amazing defensive coach.
That's a good one. That's actually really good.
And
that would be scary to have.
He had the respect of his players. He had a real hard-nosed, gritty style, and he seemed to exude character on the field. So I don't know him that well. I didn't watch all their games, but that is what came across to me. And when I had heard his name a couple years ago that he may be interested, that was somebody that stuck out. So for me, just flipping the script and going with somebody really hard-nosed, really basics-oriented. I mean, that was something Helton was supposed to bring to this team.
Yeah.
6-7 years ago, it was supposed to be Midwest fundamentals and basics. And 7 years later, we're still the most penalized team in the entire Pac-12. That's fundamentals and that's coaching. So I would love to see a guy like Sumlin. Franklin's a great coach at Penn State, too. He really took a program that was on the outs and built it up out of nothing. He seems to be a great recruiter. Again, seems to be very trenches oriented, which is something I would love to see brought to USC. So that's my long-winded answer.
Well, that is a long wind of yours. No, the other thing too, obviously college football started and so did NFL. And I mean, obviously we're not doing, like you and I, we didn't get a chance to do fantasy football this year. It's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. We move forward. This season, you saw what this season already brought. I mean, hell, like my Packers got just like destroyed by New Orleans, and that was just hard to watch. But there's a lot of other surprises that happened this past Sunday in the NFL that many people were like, what? Like, for example, the Bengals and the Vikings? I mean, the Bengals beating the Vikings. Like, I didn't even see that one coming.
I did.
You did? Of course you did. When do you not? You always
not sure. I'm not calling my shot late, but I did. This was one that I don't know. Everybody was talking Cincy down, and Joe Burrows, before he got injured last year, was really clicking, was really killing it. They still have Joe Mixon. They've got a wide variety of great receivers, and they came to play. I thought there could be an upset there. I really did. I thought that was one that could definitely go that way, and I wasn't shocked to see it.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I mean, I gotta say that team, like, it still surprised me. But I mean, the game between the Packers, going back to the Packers in New Orleans, I mean, Jameis was just clicking on all cylinders. I thought for a little while there that all the drama that happened was gonna affect his playing, but it was like he's been playing with New Orleans for years. He knew how to, like, connect with every single one of his receivers. Him and Kamara were in sync. I mean, this team came to play. The Packers, however, it seemed that they were just so, like, they were kind of like how USC was, on Saturday, the night before. I mean, the Packers just didn't have it. Something was wrong with them, and I mean, it could be that because Rodgers wasn't participating in the workouts because they were still in negotiation whether or not he was coming back or staying. That could have affected him, significantly going into the season. But I mean, even during preseason, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad. I mean, Packers were doing pretty well during preseason. You know?
I don't know what to say. I mean, it was hands down one of the worst games we've ever seen Aaron Rodgers play. I mean, that's truthfully, I mean, the whole team as well. I mean, they, like you said, came out flat, came out lethargic, but Rodgers said it himself. I mean, one of the worst games he's ever played, and now he moves forwards. But
he learns.
It was a awful game. So was he affected by all the drama also during the preseason and the controversy and trying to prove himself, coming in a little too hyped for the big game? Who knows? I mean, who could tell?
What's up with the long hair, too?
It was an egg. They laid an egg. There's no other way around it. I'm not rubbing it in. I felt your pain. So.
Oh, man. I stopped watching it towards halfway through the third because I already knew. I was like, I already know where this game's going. The way they've been playing, there's no other way they're going to go. They're not going to go up. They're going to go down.
And let me say another surprise to a lot of people. From the reports I heard out of Carolina, I wasn't terribly surprised. But Sam Darnold beating his old team.
That must have been satisfying.
And beating Zach Wilson. Well, not only satisfying, but it was the exact type of game that he never really had for the Jets. 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. There was a fumble, but it was only because the fullback, bumped into the ball. It wasn't even his fault. The fullback stepped back too quick and, knocked it out of his hands. So he had a great, clean game. He actually ran for positive yards, all the things he never did for the Jets. So it was really kind of this weird, I showed you kind of scenario. And, people said he's been playing with a chip on his shoulder in Carolina in the preseason and at practice. So.
And talking about fantasy football, Darren McDonald, again, he went ahead and commented and said, "Tell me about it. I had him as a starter for my fantasy team." And that's where you lose some on that one. So, I mean, here the thing is that, it goes back to coaching. Is it possible that maybe coaching has a lot to do with the influence that these players have, with their game? I mean, here comes a guy that went from a losing team to now starting to be a starter for a possible winning team. I mean, it's got to say something about the coaching.
Having the talent around, I mean, first and foremost, it does say something about the coaching. But let's acknowledge that Carolina has a better offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina has possibly the best running back in the league.
True.
They also have the best receiving running back in the league, who's a great safety valve for him.
Very underrated, too.
He has his favorite receiver from the Jets, plus 2 other very good receivers, something he never had. He's got options, he's got protection, and he's got an incredible running back that he can lean on. Those are things he didn't really have. He had Le'Veon Bell past, when he wasn't performing and wasn't doing anything. Unfortunately, their offensive line was very porous. So, yes, I do believe the coaching was an issue as well, especially early where they kind of handcuffed him. I mean, Sam Darnold was more of a exciting, improvising kind of a player. And they did what was his name? I can't remember the coach's name, but he did to Elway back in the 80s.
Who does? That's when you know it's bad, when you don't remember the coach's name.
But Elway's coach in the 80s, who put the handcuffs on him and was like, no, you're not going to win games. You're not going to lose games for us. We're going to keep it close until the fourth quarter, and then we'll win, in the last few. And wouldn't let him run, wouldn't let him improvise, wouldn't let him do anything. So it was the same kind of thing that first couple of years with Sam. I mean, they kind of put the handcuffs on him, and that doesn't develop a guy like him. So have they taken those handcuffs off and just kind of let him do what he wants to do in Carolina? I don't know. But I do know having a Christian McCaffrey and having a great offensive line makes a big difference.
And at this point right now, it just seems that, it's still too early to tell. Right now, we're at the very first game of the season, or the first games of the season. Exactly. It's still too early to tell what's going to happen next. There's a lot of people that are already making predictions as to exactly where everybody's what's going to happen. They're already predicting, it's going to be Tampa Bay again against Kansas City again. We saw how Tampa Bay did against the Cowboys. Oh, yeah. And a lot of Cowboys fans very, very upset at that game as well. And of course, they hate Tom Brady, but then again, who doesn't?
It's kind of a general theme, but there's a reason that no matter what you've seen on TV, if the guy's promising you their 6 lock picks for the week, for only $49.99, there is no one who makes a living betting NFL football.
True.
It doesn't happen. There's too much parity. So what goes on in week 1 really has no implication in what happens in week 16. Because we don't know who's going to get injured, who's not going to play up to their level, who's not going to do what they're supposed to do. We just never know. Now, are there trends? Of course. Do we think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to completely fall apart before the end of the season? No, not really.
No, not so much. Although we would love that to happen.
Would love it, but was Kansas City having a close game with Cleveland a shocker, even though everybody thought they were going to kill them? No, it was not a shocker. They've played 2 close games over the past 2 years in the playoffs, and Cleveland is a good, solid team. True. And they gave Kansas City all they could handle. It was not a shock. There are trends, there are things you can look at, but the fact is, nobody knows squat about this season. Nobody knows where it's going, what's going to happen, or who's going to end up on top.
It's still so early to tell. It's still super early to tell right now. You could go ahead and try to predict things, but it's just not going to go the way everybody wants to. In fantasy football, it's a different story. We can kind of see what players are probably going to be outstanding, but at the same time, that's another toss-up as well, because injuries can happen halfway through the season. I remember the first fantasy football team that I got. I had at least 3 injuries that were gone, and I had to go ahead and readjust, and I lost. I came in last place almost.
Speaking of injuries, condolences to all of you Jerry Drudy drafters. The amazing young receiver who was showing so much promise in training camp and put up 76 yards on only 31 snaps in last night's game has a high ankle sprain that will keep him out for a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks.
Ouch. Time to adjust.
So time to look at that leaderboard, that trade wire, that waiver wire. See, I'm not even playing. I can't figure out what the hell it's called.
It's a waiver wire. Come on, we remember the league.
I think I shut it down. I'm in denial at the moment because I don't have my league.
Right? I was like, what the hell, man? We could have done something
I read
together.
about that one this morning. That's a tough loss for Denver. They were looking really sharp, and to lose somebody like him is a tough one. Teddy Bridgewater looked really good with them.
Yeah.
He was really sharp. Nobody expected him to play quite as well as he did, and that's quite a hit for Jerry Drudy. He's a guy I really expected to have a huge year, and hopefully he comes back strong from the injury.
And you know what? Usually those injuries always play a mental game in a player's head whenever that happens. Sometimes these injuries can have the player play even better when they come back. Sometimes they're so scared of injuring themselves again that they hold back a lot of their big talent. That's a big thing.
It is. It can go either way, definitely. We'll have to see how it goes, in that 4 to 6 week mark. And hopefully it doesn't take him more than, a quarter to get his snap back and to realize he's got confidence in it. And, but sometimes that doesn't go that way. So we'll have to see.
It happens. Well, I just want to tell everybody that has been watching right now that this is not the official launch of our podcast. We do have a podcast that is going to be on starting October 4th at 6 p.m. It's going to be twice a week, Mondays and Fridays at 6 p.m. starting October 4th. Hopefully everybody can join us. We're going to be on pretty much all platforms. I'm sure, Jeremy, your fans can see you on your Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, the podcast Facebook page. Plus, we're also streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. I mean, that's a lot of places that we're going to be on.
We're going to be on a lot of... You're going to get annoyed with us. You're going to get tired of us, but stick around. We'll piss you off somehow.
Gonna? I think they already are, bro. But that's all for now. We're just like I said, we're just talking. This is a little impromptu kind of thing. We want to thank everybody that's been on the stream, chatting. Jeremy, you got a lot of fans out there that are wishing you well. We got a lot of people up there that are they're actually J.K. Strickland is saying loving the hairstyle, Jeremy.
No, this is going away like really soon, J.K.
I thought you had a haircut though. I thought you got a haircut.
No, I went and unfortunately, my stylist that I like was not. There was 2 completely brand new rookie girls that I did not recognize at all, and I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be filming in about a month. I was not taking chances. So. Oh
man, that's what though. I can't blame you. I'm the same way. If I don't see the barber or the stylist that I want to go ahead and have, I can't have the haircut. I don't trust anybody else with my hair.
That's exactly it. There's 2 girls, 2 wonderful girls that cut my hair. I've known them for years. Absolutely awesome. And if I don't see one of the 2 of them, then I'm not real comfortable with it. So, and again, I could tell by the way these 2 younger girls were talking that they hadn't been at this shop or at it very long. So I didn't stick around.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. We also have Maureen Levon. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. She actually said, Jeremy, are you still working as a chef? Now, if many of you are not aware, Mr. Miller here is actually a professional chef. And trust me when I say his food is fan-frickin-tastic. I'm lying through my teeth. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, right. That's why you begged me to come up here and eat.
Yeah, that's very true. You're right about that, dude. I still loved the prime rib that you made. Oh my god! And the potatoes. Oh, the potatoes were just. Oh my god! It was just it was pretty crazy. But yeah, they're asking if are you still a chef?
Yes, I am still a chef. COVID and the lockdowns and everything else put quite a hold on that for a little bit. I was focusing mainly on catering and in-home, private chef work. So that basically for the last 2 years has been non-existent. I just started picking up job offers again recently. So we'll see where that goes, but I'm also scheduled to start filming a couple of projects before the end of the year, and might be finally, because of, we're finally through this COVID thing, if we're allowed into Ireland, we might be filming the horror movie that I've been telling you guys all about forever. So
don't say anything more. That's it. We also have Belvin Sweat, I believe his name. Says hi, Jeremy from Bennettsville, South Carolina. Candido Junior Bonilla says hi, Jeremy. Betty Levi says ciao. You got a lot of people from all over the world.
That would be Yvette Levi.
Well, on here it says Betty Levi. It's spelled Betty Levi. That's why I'm saying.
Oh, she has whatever.
Yeah, that's how.
I believe that is our very dear friend Yvette, who would be the reason I have my beautiful Joni in my life.
Aw, we love Joni.
She's the reason Joni went to New Orleans and we met. So
nice. And she's and
I'll
now,
always give her a shout out.
And now you guys are, nauseating me every time I see you too. We all love each other together.
Well, you can
right?
thank her for that.
Thanks, Yvette. Appreciate it. God. We also have Eric Telexan. Hope you're doing well, Jeremy. So you got a lot of people that are wishing well. Candido Jr. Bonilla says, "Ism from New York City, Rockaway Beach, Candido." So I guess I'm assuming he's from New York City, Rockaway Beach. But yeah, I mean, now all you Jeremy Miller fans, all you Growing Pain fans, all you Peanuts Gang fans, we got Ben Seaver, Linus right here in front of us. You guys are going to see him twice a week, Mondays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Starting October 4th, we have a slew of guests that are going to be here with us. They're going to be our special guest co-hosts. We're going to be talking about a little entertainment news, a little bit of sports news, a lot less than this because this is just specifically sports for today. A little bit of politics talk because I already know Jeremy's he's salivating right now. He wants to say so many things.
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm very gentle.
Yeah, Roy. God, you guys should hear him on the phone when he talks to me. I'm like, okay, I could hear you, man. And we're also gonna have a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit of sex here and there, because I mean, come on, I mean, not that I have any experience in that whatsoever. I'm still a virgin.
Your mom's watching from above.
I hope she doesn't strike me or anything soon when I say that.
Lightning, or at the very least, a shoe is coming down.
Chancla, here. Mentiroso. Maureen Levant saying, can't wait, looking forward to this podcast. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Eric. Paula Stoichu said, hi, Jeremy. Thank you, hello. Candido. Thank you, Belvin Sweet. Thank you, JK. I'm going through everybody right now. Jakey Strickland, Derek McDonald, everybody that's joined here. Thank you so much for joining our little impromptu little thing that we're doing here, But you guys are gonna get to interact. The other cool part is that you guys get to interact, ask your questions. I will read them to the guests that we have on here, whether you guys have a question for Jeremy or any other guest. I'm really excited about October 18th because you know who's coming October 18th.
Who?
Your friend, my friend, Mr. Sean Kanan.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
That one's going to be
live. Will be a blast.
You know what? I am so happy that I'm happy for his success. His show, Studio City, winning Emmys. I mean, that's. I'm very happy for his success.
He's absolutely killing it. He invited Joni and I to the premiere of the first season, and it was awesome. It really was. It has a great mix of art and comedy and the real craziness that goes on with being a soap star and legend and all that kind of stuff. And he really, I came up to him afterwards and told him, he moved me in some scenes, really, really got to me because it was awesome. Well, I couldn't be happier for, a guy who has worked so hard and been crushing it for a long time, and to finally get some recognition is well deserved.
Two things that stand out of that show. One is the performance that Patricia did towards that last episode of the first season. That right there, I was crying when I saw that. I was crying because it was such an impact. And I was like, she did an incredible job. Like the writing. I mean, Sean did an incredible job with the writing. Mm-hmm. That really struck me. And the second is that smoking hot one that plays his girlfriend. Jesus!
How did I know you were going there?
Woo! It's already hot in this room. I'm sweating as it is, but damn, when I see that, that's even more sweat, but that's beside the point.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Patricia, because that's another person that I absolutely love and adore with all my heart. She was a big part of Growing Pains. All 7 seasons, she played multiple roles, and we adored her. I still do. Joni and I still get together with her to, have lunch and say hi. And she did phenomenal in that. And I couldn't be happier for all of them.
And it's crazy because actually I was because HBO Max has Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman. and that's a show from the '90s starring Dean Cain and James. The other thing too, it's with Dean Cain and thank you. She's freaking hot too, and I'm like, I can't believe I don't remember her freaking name right now on the back of my head. But yeah, right now they're in the episode where Patrika plays a woman that her husband is the Invisible Man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she's in that episode right now too. Eric Telexam said Patrika was starting to get as popular as Edie McClurg there for a hot minute. So she was starting to get as popular. So, we have James Merrifield saying, Jeremy, please tell your cousin Brianna that Leo Merrifield's son James Merrifield says hello, and I hope she is doing well.
Okay.
And Heather's daughter. No idea. These are like codes that I don't know.
No, I know it's my cousin Brianna, and I know who Leo is. So his son James says hi. Okay, yeah. I can let her know that.
Okay,
I can definitely. I was just trying to imprint it in my memory for a second.
Looks like we're also relaying family messages on here.
Yeah, apparently.
Right on.
It works.
Just so everybody knows, Jeremy cannot see the chat stream. Only I can. And that's just the way this is working right here, because I'm a man. I'm the man in control. So, but yeah, no,
you have issues.
I have major issues. That's beside the point. But yeah, he can't see any of it. Nobody else except for me can see the chat stream, so I have to relay the messages. So if he doesn't answer or anything like that, don't blame him, because he can't see the messages. Only I can. So go ahead and blame me. But everybody does anyway. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, like going back to everything. I mean, I'm excited to have Sean. We also have another up and coming rising star, Amanda Hawley. We interviewed her before on the other podcast that shall remain nameless.
We get to see her again.
We get to see her. We actually get to see her.
Right, because we weren't doing it on.
We weren't. Yeah, we were
just audio.
Audio, exactly. So we actually the first two times I interviewed her was actually visual. I interviewed her in person the first time.
Right.
That was before you came along and ruined my life. And so
that's what I do, baby.
That's very true. You're right about that. So she's going to be actually on the second episode of our show. So really happy to have her back. Plus we have so many other rising stars, actors, you name it. It's amazing. We actually, and I have to say this really quick, we actually did have a good friend of mine. His name is Bill Tiller. He passed away yesterday. We were going to have him on the show on the 29th, but unfortunately he passed away. I still don't know what happened. I just saw his son Billy's Instagram post about him. They are both owners of California Distilleries, Inc., and they're the ones that have this incredible alcohol that doesn't give you a hangover the next day. And I've had plenty of that alcohol. But it's very tasty. Bill was a wonderful human being. The many times I met him, he was very solid, veteran. He's a former veteran as well. Very sad day to hear of Bill's passing, and yeah, I just hope his family is doing well. I hope Billy is doing well. Billy and Bill were like best friends. They were like best friends. So my heart does go out to Billy's family and Bill's family as well. So, we're, like I said, I'm excited about the new show. I'm excited about the new podcast that we have here. This is a new show practically. So I don't know Jeremy, how do you feel? How do you feel about this whole venture, having to deal with me for God knows how much longer?
I've resigned myself to never being able to get rid of you, because Joni, cares about you, so I'm going to have to keep you around. So
I'm like a bad penny I was turning up.
We might as well get some fun out of it, and I might as well torture you for a while we can.
I hate you. Really, really hate you right now. Anyways, we're going to cut this thing off before it gets any more sappier. But yeah, thanks everybody again for tuning in. And remember, we're going to be back on October 4th officially. And who knows, we might have a special guest on that day. We're kind of still working on that, but you never know. I mean, anybody could pop up anytime and just say, hey, I'm coming in there and talking to you. So thanks again. That's the news in case you haven't heard it. And again, I'm Dave Navarro.
Jeremy Miller.
This is the Navarro Miller Report. We'll see y'all next time.
Test run.